Hola todos. I apologize. My voice is shot and I have a little bit of a cold. You might see me drinking liquids a lot during this video. Sorry about that. But we still have work to do, so we're going to get work done. Yes? This is a shorter module, but just because it's short doesn't mean it's not important. Ethics and marketing ethics, well, ethics in general, is one of the two pillars of the mission at the Stillman School. One is concepts into practice, meaning although we will do rigorous theoretical work like we've been doing in all our modules and what we do in all our classes, Stillman has an eye towards actual practice. So we like to apply, right? And then servant leader, mission focused ethics. We really want to stress the importance of being a responsible individual in a corporation. So when we talk about being in a corporation, we talk about what it's like to be in a particular workplace. There are values, there are rules, there are controls, right? These are the kinds of things that are in the sphere of when we talk about ethics. Values, are something we all share. Rules tend to be written down. Values tend to not be written down. Rules tend to be written down. Controls tend to be enforced or not enforced with regards to what's given in the rules that are written down. So when you think about why people act unethically, I think, if we look back at the ethics research and we look back in Business Week and Fortune and the Wall Street Journal, and we see these monster ethical breaches, like what happened, and we see, and we listen to the stories of the people that were on the inside. Most of the people don't realize that they are doing something unethical. Think about it this way. You have all traveled somewhere and you have been in unfamiliar territory. You've been in a train station, an airport, a heavy touristed area, and you kind of don't know what to do or where to go. So what do? You tend to look around, see what other people are doing, and follow the crowd. Because you are in a position of uncertainty. And when you are in a position of uncertainty, you are more influenced by the people around you. So if you see someone slightly cutting corners, but nothing is really happening to that individual, and people talking about what's written, the written rules and the unwritten rules, and how people get ahead, and you kind of look around you and see how people are behaving, well, you tend to model the behavior of the people around you. And this is that quote-unquote slippery slope. There is a terminology about bankruptcy is how did you become bankruptcy? Really slow at first, but then really, really, really fast. That idea can apply to ethics just as well. They tend to not think what they're doing is completely unethical because they're looking at the people around them. And when we think about ethics too, this will be the last thing before I move on to the next slide. There is legal and illegal. Legal behavior, illegal behavior. Obviously, if you are doing illegal behavior, you are being unethical. But you could be doing legal behavior and also be unethical. That's the hard part. Being ethical and legal, understood. But you could be doing unethical things that's technically legal. That's the hard part. We have some slides at the end of this module that I think will be very helpful. So in professions, attitudes about ethical standards for various professions, we have nurses and pharmacists and doctors all the way up there. But car salesmen and car salespeople, healthcare providers, stockbrokers, insurance salesmen, senators, advertising executive, business executive, lawyers, this tends to be the bottom of the list. Salespeople do not have a good reputation. Most marketers do not have a good reputation because there aren't many laws against what marketers do, but that doesn't mean they're not being unethical. Now, the American Marketing Association does have a code of ethics. It is generally accepted. It flows from norms to specific conduct and values, and there are sub-areas within. If we think about making ethical decisions, we can think about it in 4 steps. We can identify problem areas. We can gather information specifically from stakeholders that are impacted the most. We can brainstorm and evaluate various alternatives. And then we can choose a course or action that is both ethical and fits the mission of the firm. So let's go through these. So we're researching the firm issues. We're collecting data. Not hiding the real, this is within marketing research. We're not hiding the real purpose of the study. We're using results that won't mislead or harm the public. We're identifying specific issues. We go to specific stakeholders. We try to identify all possible ethical issues that are relevant. Then we get input from all potential stakeholders. And then we're brainstorming specific alternatives. Okay? Oh, by the way, this example that we're using is all within the terms of like a marketing research project. Okay? And then we choose a course of action. We weigh the alternatives, and we really take, given the stakeholders involved, the best path forward that represents the firm well, represents the stakeholders well, serves the stakeholders well. So I have 3 more things that I want to touch base with before we leave this ethics module. Just like I said earlier, it's easy to tell when you're doing something illegal versus something legal. Sometimes it's hard to determine whether you're doing something unethical or ethical, even if you're doing something legal. And I wanted to give you a rubric of sorts for you to think about, okay, am I really doing something that's crossing a line? Well, this slide right here is one of those slides that it's easy for you to ask yourself without getting lost within what's happening around you and the behaviors around you. Think about the publicity test. Would I want to see what I'm doing in the media? If the answer is, I'm not so sure, you're probably doing something unethical. The mentor test. We all have mentors. If you were to describe to your mentor what you're doing, what do you think he or she would say? If he or she would go, I don't know about, you're doing something unethical. If there's someone you look up to or you admire, very similar to the moral mentor, transparency test. What you're doing has clear explanation if you had to describe it to someone else. If you're not being 100% transparent, then you're probably being unethical. The mirror test, mainly you in the mirror. You can sing the Michael Jackson song if you like in the background or put it on your phone. Can you get up every day and look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, okay, this is okay. If you can, you're doing something ethical. The last one, okay? Would I like to be on the receiving end of this action? Would I be okay if someone was doing this to me that I am doing to others? If the answer is no, you're doing something unethical. All right. So the second of the last things that I wanted to get to is the idea of corporate social responsibility. Okay. Now, corporate social responsibility, unfortunately, in many cases, tends to be a PR ploy. In other words, it's not strategic. It's there to make the company look good. And they use it primarily to message via PR that we are in fact doing something good. Home Depot decides to donate a whole bunch of lumber for Habitat for Humanity, and they have people down there, and they're taking pictures, and they may even have some workers down there that they're getting paid to be there instead of being in a Home Depot store. They're there helping with their expertise on site to build a house for a specific day. It looks great in the papers. The photographs look good. The press is good. It's all good. It's all PR. CSR really should be part of the strategic mission of the corporation. It really should. So think about it this way. Here's the concept that I wanted to give to you for you to think about how CSR should be part of the strategic mission of the firm. So the concept I want to introduce to you is the triple bottom line. Triple bottom line. We're all familiar with the bottom line. You're a business student. This has been drilled into you. We have revenue minus costs equals margin or profit. Below revenue and costs is a line. Below that line is profits. Now, for decades, both business schools and MBA programs, the main goal of a business is to maximize shareholder value. Translation, profits. If that's your only main goal, then you could easily fall into traps of ethical responsibility because all you're trying to do is maximize profits. But if there's a triple bottom line and the corporation goes to serve not one bottom line, profits, but three bottom lines, environmental and social, then all of a sudden your actions are judged not by just profits, but by your environmental impact and your social impact. Let's go through an example real quick. So Pepsi, under the current CEO, she wanted to reduce the carbon footprint of Pepsi and at the same time increase the welfare of the people that live in the communities everywhere there's a Pepsi plant. So down in Texas, there's a number of big Pepsi plants in Texas. It's pretty hot in Texas. A lot of salty snacks, Lay's, are made down in that area of the country. You know, think about it. Potato chips, pretzels, Doritos. Well, the goal was, okay, we are going to reduce costs by putting solar panels on the roof of the factory. The solar panels reduce our fossil fuel requirements, particularly oil and electricity generated by oil. And if we're not running factories that are running oil, we improve the air quality for the society around us. So it became a strategic mission. It wasn't a PR ploy by Pepsi to just say, oh yeah, we're going to do some green marketing. No, the solar panels took those manufacturing plants off the grid, got them away from using fossil fuels, and decreased the costs, increased the profitability of these plants. And everyone benefited because we had cleaner air and, society at large in the Texas towns where these particular plants were are based from, those individuals are better off. This is an example of a triple bottom line. It's strategic, and I like to see CSR that is strategic. Stonyfield Farms is a yogurt company. Their CSR is part of the balance sheet. It's part of the mission statement. They really do fund socially responsible businesses out of their profitabilities, and I think they give away 1% or 10% of all their profits to fund other kinds of businesses. It's not a PR ploy. It's part of the strategic mission of the firm. It's strategic. To wrap this up, this kind of gets to where we started. You can be both ethical and unethical, and socially responsible and socially irresponsible. Obviously, if you're unethical, you are socially irresponsible. But it is possibly you can be socially responsible but unethical. Yeah, it is possible. It is possible. Where a firm practices yet donates a lot to the community. But that doesn't mean they are completely ethical. This is a PR kind of a thing. This is where we want to be. We want to be an ethical firm, and we want to be a socially responsible firm, and that's where CSR becomes a strategic part of the mission. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have 2 more to do. I'm probably going to do them tomorrow because my voice is shot. Thank you.